Good afternoon to all. Thank you for your attendance today and for your participation in this webinar. My name is Rachel Wilson, and I work here with Fulbright Columbia in the Advising Center. And today we're lucky enough to have with us Sylvia Maxner from Ferris State University's Office of International Education. Sylvia is a communications specialist and will be talking to us today about how to apply to universities in the United States, and she'll be especially talking about Ferris State and the important aspects to remember when applying to that university as an international student. So thank you all again for joining us. What I want to do before we begin is make sure everyone can hear okay and that you can see the screen. If you can hear me and you can see the PowerPoint presentation that says Ferris State University, please write this in the space marked questions. Please write hello or yes, I can hear. También, si quieren escribir en español, no hay ningún inconveniente. El webinar va a ser en inglés, pero nos pueden hacer preguntas en español y no hay ningún inconveniente con eso. Entonces, si ustedes pueden ver la pantalla y escucharme, por favor, escríbanlo en la parte de questions o preguntas en el menú a la derecha de su pantalla. Super, Mario se escucha bien. Hi, Juan Pablo. Greetings from Pasto. Great to see you are connecting from Pasto today and joining us. A ver si Carola y Jennifer nos escuchan. ¿Pueden ver la pantalla? Súper, contamos con Carola y también Jennifer. Entonces, gracias. Parece que todos pueden ver y escuchar. I'm going to switch to English now for the presentation, but remember that you can ask us questions in Spanish at any time. There's no problem. We will manage our communication through the same questions box in the panel. We will not have your microphones working during the presentation, but we will all be able to communicate via the questions function. So without further ado, I will pass the ball to Sylvia Maxner, who will be giving our presentation today about how to apply to universities in the U.S.
All right, well, thank you. Again, my name is Sylvia Maxner. I'm the communications specialist with Ferris State University. We are located in Big Rapids, Michigan. Michigan is located in what's known as the Midwest of the United States. It's up north. We just got done with winter, so all of our snow is gone, so we're really happy about that. And I am happy to be here today with you guys to tell you a little bit about applying as an international student and let you know a little bit about Ferris State University, as well as kind of a general overview about how to apply for colleges in the United States as a whole. Just to let you know a little bit about myself, I am what is known as a military brat, which means I was raised with a parent who is in the military, so I moved around all of the world. I lived in England, in South Korea, in Italy, all over the United States. So I know what it's like to go from one place to another, to have to learn new cultures and stuff. I just started working in Ferris State in November, so I'm rather new. So all of this has been a fun learning process for me too, so I'm glad that I can tell you guys some of the stuff that I'm learning and we can learn together. What I'm going to do is after each slide, I'm going to pause and ask for questions. So if you guys have any questions specifically about what the slide topic is, go ahead and ask them there, and I will take the time to answer them. Otherwise, if you want to wait to the end and if you come up with any more questions, that's fine too. Just whatever works for you guys. The other person that's pictured here, her name is Riddhi Mehta. She is our recruitment international recruiter and market analyst. She is in charge of the overall market strategy for the office and also does a lot of outreach. So, all right, we'll go ahead and move on. So first let me tell you a little bit about the higher education system in the United States and what makes it a little bit different from other countries' higher education systems. So to start off, especially when you are in the undergrad, which is getting your bachelor's degrees, a really important part of the American education system is what's known as general education. Basically what that means is no matter what your specific degree is, you could be going for psychology, you could be going for mechanical engineering, you could be going for biology. All of these things require the same general classes that you'll be taking probably in your first 1 or 2 years while you're in college. These will include English courses to kind of give you a basis of how to write on a higher system, math classes, as well as electives. And basically what this does is it gives you a good foundation in order to build the rest of your education off of. Not all other countries' universities have this, so that's the reason why I feel like it's important to let you know. Every degree, whether it's an associate's degree, a bachelor's degree, or a graduate degree, does require a certain number of credit hours. Basically how it works is every course that you take is going to give you a certain number of credit hours. Typically, it's going to be 3 credit hours per class, although these change and you'll just want to check and make sure when you actually apply for classes. And what happens is we add up the number of credit hours based off of the courses that you've passed, and when you have the required number of credit hours to complete your degree, then you're eligible to graduate. So again, this is just something you want to be aware of. When I was in college, I took several classes that were 4 credit hours because they were a lot more intensive, but I took some classes that were also a lot easier and maybe only took 4 or 5 weeks to complete, and they were only 2 credit hours. So it's a wide variety. Electives. Electives are also part of the general education curriculum that I was talking about. The difference is with electives is you have a lot more freedom to choose which classes you want to take. So for example, if you were an electrical engineering technology student and you had to take some electives, you could go ahead and take film studies, or you could take mythology, any sort of class that you're vaguely interested in and want to learn a little bit more about to round out your academic career. Those electives are there for that. They are most of the time required, just like the general education classes are, but like I said, you just have a lot more flexibility with those, and those are usually like the fun classes that you want to take. For GPAs, for GPAs, what that is your total grade point average. That is your grade over your credit hours. In order to graduate, you need to keep your grades up to a certain level, to a certain GPA. So, for example, in order to graduate from Ferris State University with your bachelor's degree, you have to maintain a 2.5 GPA. That's on our scale. In America, we go to a 4.0 GPA. If you have a full 4.0, then you've gotten straight A's. So 2.5 is pretty much all A's and B's with a couple of C's in there. So yeah, any questions about the higher education systems? I'll give you guys a few seconds to type in questions.
It doesn't look like we have any questions at this point, so if anyone has any questions at any point about the education system or GPA, please feel free to type it in.
Yep. Okay, so now I'll go a little bit into the undergraduate application process. Before I get started with this, I think it might be important to just kind of explain the difference between undergraduate and graduate, if you don't know. So undergraduate is basically the beginning of your academic career. Those are going to be your bachelor level courses. It is higher education, but it's on a more general level. So for example, here at Ferris State, we have a lot of engineering undergraduate courses. We have a lot of business, a lot of hospitality, and these are going to be a little less intense than graduate, but they are still very intense because they are higher education. Graduate is the level above undergraduate. You have to have an undergraduate degree in order to qualify for them. And those are going to be a lot more intense and get you ready for careers that are a little bit more nuanced and a little bit more higher skill needed. So for example, things that would need a graduate level degree would be, we have a information security and intelligence degree that's basically cybersecurity. So that would be the people who are stopping hackers, who are protecting information, all that kind of fun stuff. Other graduate programs that we have are, we have criminal justice administration and social work, which both need to have a higher degree of education and more knowledge base in order to fully have the qualifications for the jobs that you're going to want to apply for. With that out of the way, I'll go ahead and let you know how the undergraduate application process works. Your first step after you've decided which university you want to apply for is going to be the application. Here in America, pretty much every university has gone digital, so there is a good chance that you're going to fill out your application online. After you've filled out your application, you are going to have to pay an application fee. Some universities don't have it. Us at Ferris, we do. It's $30. Typically, these are going to be low, not too expensive. Basically, what it does is it pays just for the process, the administrative process of actually getting the application through the system. And then after you do that, you will want to send in official transcripts of any high school or secondary schools that you've attended. What we mean by official, that does not mean that it has to be the original transcript that you've received. A lot of times people only have one of those and they can't get another one, and we completely understand that. So what you're going to want to do is you can take that original transcript that you have and get an official copy made of it. Where you can do this, you can take it to this high school, have it copied and have it stamped and signed. That's good. If you have access to a notary public, that would work as well. Really, any way that we can know that this has been seen and verified by someone in an official standing in order for us to know that it's a true and non-tampered with transcript. We do want the original in both the home language and also translated into English. You don't need to worry about having the transcript evaluated. A lot of universities have people who do that in-house. We're one of those universities. Next, you'll want an official bank statement. This is basically going to be something that is sent to us from your bank or from someone who is agreeing to sponsor you. That could be a family member like your parents or another relative. An employer can also be a good sponsor. Anyone who's going to be able to guarantee that you can come here to America to study for a year. The reason why we ask for this isn't actually university policy. It's the United States government policy for immigration purposes. They just want to ensure that when you arrive into the United States, you're going to have enough funds to be able to thrive in the United States. We don't want to have you come here and be high and dry. But we're also going to need a copy of your passport and a proof of English proficiency. Most schools, this is going to be the IELTS test or the TOEFL test. We also started recently accepting something called the PTE. And a few other things. So like if you've taken the SAT or the ACT, we can also take those. If you have any tests that you have any questions on, you can just email me and ask, or ask the admissions team of whatever university you're interested in. All right. Any questions on that, or I'll go ahead and move on.
Sylvia, what are the...
if you guys have questions.
Sylvia, can you hear me?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Great. What are the minimum English requirements, or if you don't have a minimum, what do you generally expect to see from international students in terms of English?
Yeah, let me check and see if that's the next screen. Here we go. I can talk about that now. So these are the English language proficiencies. For undergraduate, for TOEFL, we like to see a 61, and for IELTS, we like a 5.5. And we have the graduate scores there. They are higher. Like I said, graduate level courses are more intense and require a higher skill level, which is why they have to have a higher English language proficiency level. One thing that a lot of universities do, and we do as well, is something called conditional admission. Basically what that means is we provide an intensive English language program. So you would apply, and as long as you meet all of the other requirements, you would be conditionally admitted into the university. So let's go back to the electrical engineering student who wants to come. They would apply. They would be conditionally admitted into the electrical engineering program. However, they would need to begin their academic career in the intensive English language program. When they arrive on campus, they would take a placement exam, which would place them in one of our levels. They would work their way through the levels. Generally, this takes, if you're a very, very beginner, this can take up to a year. If you're someone who just needs to get your score up a little bit, this could take as little as a semester. You would take an exam to get out of the program, and as soon as you're graduated from the intensive English language program, you would immediately begin your academic career in the program that you initially applied to be in. You wouldn't have to reapply through the university or anything like that. And that's actually pretty common practice for universities that do have their own intensive English language program, and it's a good option for students who don't necessarily have this score up high enough to the levels that the program wants to see. Any questions about English language proficiency? Okay, I see one.
All right, Sylvia. So the question from Carola, writing in from Venezuela, is the following. So she would like to learn English and maybe possibly do a short-term program or a master's in immigration law. But she would also be looking for a financial assistance. And she's a lawyer certified in her country with a doctorate level law degree. She's 48 years old, and she wants to know what options she might have regarding English learning and later doing a law degree.
Yeah, so Ferris specifically doesn't offer any law degrees, but there are a lot of universities that do, and it would work the exact same way. You would apply to the university. My best suggestion would be to actually get into contact with their admissions office, just to let them know that you are interested in the higher level course, but you want to start off in English. And it works the exact same way. Once you get through the English language program, you'll be immediately beginning your law degree, and then you'd be able to graduate through that university that way. Financial assistance, I'm going to be honest, for graduate level courses is going to be harder to find. Due to U.S. law, there actually isn't a lot, there's no government assistance for financial aid for anyone who's international. Those are for U.S. citizens only. And getting bank loans through an American bank is also very difficult for international students. The one way you are able to do it is if you have a family member or a friend who is willing to co-sign, who is an American citizen. So what that would basically entail is they are promising that if you are not able to pay the loan, that they will take over for it. That's what co-signing is. So if you have someone who is very close to you or who trusts you, that is an option. Also, there are, I'm going to go a little bit more in depth into this in another screen, but there are options of working on campus for money. There are, especially on the graduate level, research assistantships. So there are options to helping get your education paid for. But I do know on the graduate level, scholarships and financial aid are a little bit harder to come by just because they are very competitive on the higher level.
All right, thanks, Sylvia. Let's continue.
Yeah, okay, so I'm going to go back a screen if I can figure, there we go. So I'm going to go through the graduate application process, since it does seem we have people who are interested in higher level courses. It's very similar to the undergrad in that you will need to still have the financial guarantee letter, we'll still need a copy of your passport, and we'll still need the English language proficiency. These are the differences between the graduate from the undergraduate. So again, like I showed you on the previous screen, there are higher English language proficiency scores that are required. Instead of your high school transcripts, they will need your college transcripts. At the graduate level, you won't need to send secondary. All we'll need to see is your undergraduate career. And the same thing goes with that. If you only have one copy, that's fine. Just have an official one made in order to send to us. And it needs to be in the original language and also translated into English. For graduate schools, they will generally ask you to send at least 2 or 3 letters of recommendation. Letters of recommendation are basically other people vouching that you're going to be a good candidate for the program. I actually just applied for grad school, so I had 2 coworkers and someone I was very close to in college write recommendation letters for me. You want to pick people who are going to be able to let us or whatever university you apply to know that you are knowledgeable, that you are a good worker, that you're smart, anything that is going to be a good fit for the university. Like I said, you can pick pretty much anyone. I wouldn't recommend picking family or anything like that just because it doesn't necessarily look the best. Employers are really good, coworkers are good, professors are great. Anyone you know on a professional level would be ideal. These don't have to be long. Typically, they want to be about a page. And then you would just have the person who's writing the letter of recommendation send it directly to our office. They can't go through your hands first. We also like to see a resume. This can either be what's known as a CV, which is just a representation of all the work you've done as a student. So that would be, say if you did do a higher level course and you did a thesis, or you did a really large grant, or you did a big research project, any of those would look great on a CV. A normal resume would be like a work resume, so you could put all of the jobs you've had there along with a description of what skills you learned there and what you did on a daily basis. This could be volunteer things that you've done, pretty much, or any student organizations that you were a part of when you were undergraduate, any leadership things you might have taken a hold of, anything that's going to let us know what you've been doing that would give you a good, proper experience to be admitted into the graduate program. And finally, a statement of purpose is necessary. Statement of purpose basically is you opening up to the admissions people. I'm just going to let you know, for us, the statement of purpose is really important. It's the way for our admissions coordinator to get to know you on a more personal level. You become more than just numbers on a piece of paper. So with a statement of purpose, what you're going to want to do is explain why you want to come to the university, why you want to study in this specific program, why you would be a good fit for the program, and what you'd like to do with your experience after you graduate. Basically, we just want to get to know you better, get to know your skill level, and get to know the passion behind why you want to come to Ferris State or whatever university you're applying for to get your graduate level degree. All right, if we don't have any questions on that, I'm going to scooch on down to our next slide, but I'll give you guys a second if you want to have any questions. Here's the English language scores one more time if you wanted to look at that. Okay, oh, I had a slide about the personal statement. Yeah, so basically this is a list of, again, what I was saying. You want to talk about yourself in the program, how you can contribute. One thing I did forget to say is you want to make sure to proofread this statement. It is not very nice when you spend a lot of time and put a lot of passion into something and there's a lot of spelling errors or grammatical errors that take away from the real impact of what you're saying. So make sure to proofread, reread it, have a lot of people look over it, and just make sure to send your best image forward. You can also send additional documents that support your statement. So for example, if you got a certificate of leadership, if you finished a program and you got a award from that, that's also great to send along. Again, that just lets us know a little bit more about you and how you'd be a good fit for the university. I see. Okay, so we'll go ahead and move on to the next screen. This is our website. This is pretty typical for most universities. Most universities are going to have a separate page for international admissions, just like we do, just because the application process for international students is a lot more complicated than normal admissions. I've circled on here where our application is that little button that says Apply Now. This is going to be very similar for all other universities. They're going to have their application up front, easy for you to see. In addition, I don't know if you can see my mouse here, but there's this thing here called Live Chat, and it's a new tool that a lot of people are starting to use, including us, which basically click on this and it instantly takes you to somebody who is ready and able to answer any of your questions instantly. That person right now is me. So in circumstances where I'm not away from my desk like I am right now, I would be available to answer any questions live. So while you're applying, if you have any questions, you can always click on that little button as long as it's on, and someone will be there to talk with you. Okay, so I'll talk about application deadlines now. There are typically 3 different semesters for most universities. I'll talk about ours specifically because I know that well. So for the fall, the deadline is from June 15th. The fall semester is typically from August till December. Spring is from January to May, and that deadline is October 15th. And then summer is a short semester, and that's from May to August, and that deadline is February 15th. If you are studying in the United States, you are required to be a full-time student in the fall and the spring semesters. However, for the summer semester, you aren't required to take any classes if you don't want to. If you have a part-time job on campus, this would be a good opportunity to see if you could get full-time work just to get a little extra money if you have that option for you, or this would be a good time to find an internship. The summer semester is a good time just to use your time here in America to kind of explore what options you might have. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and move to the next screen. Okay, so this is financing. I know this is probably going to be something that a lot of people have a lot of questions on, so if you have anything while I'm talking and you want to write a question, go ahead. I'm more than happy to answer. So I'll start with scholarships. For Ferris State specifically, the way our scholarships work is they are merit-based. What that means is we decide who's going to get a scholarship based off of their test scores and how well they did in their secondary school. It's all grades, it's all numbers. So scholarships are based after you get accepted, and then our admissions coordinator takes a look at all of the scores of everyone who's applied that semester and basically picks the top of the crop and offers them scholarship opportunities. Other universities, I think, might offer you opportunities to be able to apply for scholarships, but I don't know how common this is for international students. In addition, once you actually come to the university and have been here for a semester, a lot more scholarships actually open up. These require a little bit more work. You might have to write some essays, you might have to fill out an application, but they are available to help out with the tuition. Another thing that's great for international students is student employment. That's actually the picture that I have up here. This is our cafeteria. It's called the Rock. We have a lot of international students working there. The rules for immigration, again, this isn't university policy, this is the policy of the United States government, is if you are here in the United States to be in college, you cannot work off campus. You have to work on campus unless it's an internship. And also during the fall and the spring semester, you can only work part-time, which means 20 hours per week. Again, like I mentioned before, in the summer semester, you can go full-time to get a little bit extra money, but that's only during the shorter summer semester. And basically, the reason why they have those rules is because you want to be here to study, and concentrate on your education rather than working. But there are a lot of opportunities available. We actually have several international students who work here in our office. So we've got opportunities in the different food areas. We've got The Rock, we've got Starbucks, we have a new university center that opened up and that has a lot of dining areas that are always hiring. Most offices have a lot of need for office workers. So if you have a higher grasp of English, this might be a really good opportunity for you to apply as an international student. The rec center is always hiring. Pretty much any university you're going to go to is going to have opportunities for you. So when you get there, you just want to ask about it right away, and that'd be a good opportunity. Internships. A lot of colleges actually require an internship in order to graduate. I know that several of our engineering courses do require an internship. Basically what this means is you're going to partner up with an actual company, and they're going to give you work experience in whatever field that you're studying for. Internships can either be unpaid or paid, which is why they're on finance. It's on the financing screen. When I was in college, my internship was actually with the state of Nebraska, where I went to school, and that was not paid. But my husband had a paid internship when he was at the University of Illinois. So there's a lot of different options, and you're just going to want to talk with your program director in order to find something that's going to be a good fit for you. But do remember that the whole point of coming to the United States to get an education is to do that, just to get an education. So rather than focusing on whether or not you're going to get money, you probably want to focus on what's going to be the best fit for your career. Internships are a really, really great way to get experience, and in our economy today, experience is the king. So make sure that you stay on top of internships, and if you can get one, I would really, really suggest it. For graduate students, there are things called research assistantships. Basically what these are is you're going to be working directly with the faculty and the school itself doing research, and assistantships do usually pay. It'll come in the form of paying for tuition or giving you a stipend, depending on how intensive this research work is going to be. You would either be doing quantifying data, actually doing hands-on work, laboratory work. Depending on what program you're in, the research assistantships can be really varied. Again, these are really great experience builders. These are all things that I would really recommend any student trying to go for, just to give yourself a heads up in your field and give you something that you can write on your resume when you leave the university and are actually looking for jobs. Any other questions on financing? Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and move on. All right, so I'm going to talk a little bit about academic life while you're here in the United States. The first thing you're going to want to do before you come here is to actually decide what program you want to go to. There are options in a lot of universities where you could apply as a college student as undecided, and you would get those general education courses out of the way before actually starting the program you want. This isn't something that we necessarily recommend you do. I always think it's a good idea to know what you actually want to study before you come. And there are a wide variety. Here at Ferris, we have, like I said, we've got hospitality programs, we have a ton of engineering programs, we have some medical opportunities. Most of the stuff we do is very hands-on, but if you want to find a university that's a little more liberal arts based, those are always good options too. Just make sure you know what you want to study before you apply. And then some important things about the American university system. You always want to avoid plagiarism. This is when you go online and you just kind of copy word for word essays or anything you might find online. This is always frowned upon. If you want to use someone else's words, that's fine, but you always have to cite your sources. But that's something that they'll go over with you when you come here. And there are a ton of student organizations in order to help you feel a little bit more integrated into the American system. So the picture we have here is actually our international student organization. They're taking advantage of the bountiful amounts of snow that we get here in Michigan, and they all went snowboarding and skiing. And things like the International Student Organization, or we have a Indian Student Organization, Chinese Student Organization, different things like that, is just to give domestic students who want to get to know international students an opportunity to integrate themselves with our international group. And here at Ferris, we actually have a rather large percentage of our population as international. So our ISO, the International Student Organization, is rather large. We also have a Hispanic student organization. We have a large Hispanic population, a large Spanish-speaking population here. And they all do a lot of activities, and they do their best to give the students leadership opportunities, a lot of chances to go to events, a chance to practice English in a more casual, more culturally appropriate basis. And these are things that once you get on campus, you can look a little bit more into, and we'll definitely give you direction. All right. So housing and dining. If you are under the age of 18, most colleges are going to require you to live on campus in one of our dorms. If you're over the age of 18, there are a lot more opportunities for you to live off campus in apartments and stuff. But I'm just going to go over dorms and dining in the university itself. So most feature a two-person bedroom and a bathroom that's shared with your roommates. They all include internet and cable TV. Most housing plans do require you to pay into our meal plan, which would give you access to all of our dining facilities. There are options that make you not have to pay for the meal plan, but these are generally reserved for, we have family housing, so if you have children or a spouse that you'd like to bring with you, that's totally fine, and you can live in our family housing, and that's one of the places where the meal plan isn't required. Okay, and here's some pictures of, here's a dorm room right here. So this is an example of one of the beds here, and on the other side of the room would be the other bunk bed. So there's a lot of room for doing things and a tiny room to sleep, but they're actually pretty comfortable. So that's what I stayed in when I was in college. And then here is our dining facility. This is the new one that just got built. It's really nice. Okay, so there are a lot of student support services available for, it's available for all students, but I like to let our international students know about them too. So there's tutoring and writing support services, career counseling services. Right now it's actually Career Week here, so they're doing mock interviews, they're doing etiquette dinners, they're doing everything they could possibly do to get you prepared for when you graduate in order to put your best foot forward. They're also available all the time to look over resumes and things like that in order to get you ready. There are peer mentor programs. So for example, we have something here called My Place, which brings together students from the English language program and some are domestic students, and they're basically like conversation circles, and that's really popular. So that's an example of one of our peer mentor programs. We have the Office of Multicultural Student Services. So for example, when I went to university, my mother's Korean, so I'm half Asian. I went to the Office of Multicultural Student Services a lot in order to get a little bit more integration. And since you guys are international, this is a really good service for you guys to kind of get integrated with other students. Like I said, we have the Center for Latino Studies. This is for Hispanic students, Spanish-speaking students, and it's a really good way to get to know people here who were, their first language was Spanish. They're integrating into our culture in a different way, but something that I think is a good opportunity. And then immigration support, which is something we do in our international office. We have someone who's fully dedicated to making sure that all of your immigration papers are in order, that from semester to semester that you're okay. And if you have any questions at all, you can always come in or email and talk with somebody, and we'll always be there to help you out. And that's the same for pretty much any university. They're always going to be open and let you know what they can do for you. Okay, so here's our contact information. Again, my name is Sylvia Maxter. This is our website. If you go to the website, you can find all the information that I talked about, plus more. They'll let you know about all the programs that are available. That's the email. That's actually the email that I am in charge of. So if you send an email to international@ferris.edu and let me know that you were part of the Columbia webinar, I can answer your question directly. That's my direct line. And that website down there, which is the same as the international website, is access to our live chat. So that concludes my presentation. Does anyone have any specific questions? I'd be happy to answer.
Sylvia, I have a question about internship opportunities, practicums, both for undergrad and in graduate levels, maybe during the summer or during a semester. What kind of opportunities are available for Ferris State University students?
Oh, yeah. So there are a lot of opportunities. I can talk specifically about undergrad because I know we actually had a group of students who did an internship in Lansing, which is the capital of Michigan. And this was a paid internship, which was great. And I think they were, of course, now that I mention it, I don't remember exactly what program they were in, but it was really hands-on. We don't like to send our students to internships where all they're going to be doing is like answering the phone or filing paperwork. All of our partners are ones that are going to give hands-on opportunity. So another example would be our information security and intelligence program. We have a partner that's in Texas that basically hires the students for the summer semester, pays them, they just had to pay for housing, and just puts them to work in the field. And basically all you need to do is talk with your program director, and they will hook you up with a company or an organization that's going to be the best fit for your career goals. We do have a lot of partners. We are a very hands-on university. It's the thing that kind of sets us apart. So whatever field you're in, just make sure you keep in touch with your advisor or the program directors, and they can direct you in the right direction.
Sylvia, so talking a bit about Ferris State, if you were to name the 2 or 3 strengths, maybe on the graduate level, the strongest programs or the most unique programs that Ferris State has, what would you say are the let's say three flagship programs for Ferris State?
Okay. Well, on the graduate level, I could easily say our information security and intelligence program is very good. It's actually nationally ranked for education on cybersecurity. It's a very rapidly growing field with a lot of need. If you read the news, like every other week there's something about a hack or data encroachment, and the program gives a lot of really intense education to get you ready for a career in that program. All of our faculty, they go to a lot of conferences. They make sure to stay up to date on all of the newest updates and the newest technologies, and our teachers here have a lot of passion, which is great, and they're always really involved. So we actually see the program directors for, we call it ISI for them a lot. They're physically situated really close to our office, so we see them a lot. We also have a really good education master's program here, and there's a bunch of different concentrations in this. You can go for a specific subject. We have a really great special education master's degree, so this would get you ready to work with students who are either academically or physically disabled in some sort. And there's also a daycare on campus that gives a lot of students hands-on work with kids. And another really good program is our, we have a Master of Social Work, which gets you ready to work in situations that would require a social worker. And there's actually a lot of opportunities for this. You can be a medical social worker, which means you would work in either like retirement facilities or in hospitals or with younger children who are in, who have lifelong health issues, and you basically help them through it on a personal level. And it's really important, really validating work. I personally know a lot of people who graduated from that program and have a lot of pride in what they do, and that's also a program that has a lot of really good internship opportunities. There's a lot of places around here that have a need for social workers, so there's a lot of hands-on experience to be had. And as far as undergrad goes, we do offer the Information Security and Intelligence program onto the bachelor level. We have a very popular, it's HVAC, it's heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. We offer one of the few bachelor level programs for that, and that teaches you not only how to do the technical work, but also how to handle the business end of running an HVAC company. Our very newest program, which we're really excited about, is also ranked nationally and used to be on our Grand Rapids campus, but it's coming to our main campus now, is Digital Animation and Game Design. So this is making video games or working in movies or anything that requires you to be able to do any 3D modeling or utilizing the computer in order to make graphics, creating your own graphics engines, that kind of stuff. And that's really exciting. I got to demo some of the stuff they were doing, and it was really great. Yeah, are there any programs that the people who are attending are specifically looking for? I can let them know a little bit more about those programs.
Carola already mentioned that she was interested in law, so unfortunately there's not a match there, as Ferris State does not have a law program.
Yeah, we do. I don't know if we have other doctorate level people there, but we do have a very good pharmacy program, which you can actually start on the. It's a weirder situation there because it's an associate's level program that gets you ready to go into the doctoral program. But we've got a doctor of pharmacy and we've got a doctor of optometry program available here at Ferris. They are very competitive because we're one of the few universities that offer it. But they do have really high median salaries, a lot of hands-on opportunity, and a lot of chances just to kind of get a lot of good hands-on experience. And our pharmacy building is beautiful. I just went there. So. Yeah.
Well, it looks like we're about at the end of our hour. But thank you for giving us your contact information, and also the live chat feature is something really special, and that hopefully people can take advantage of to ask you any question at any time that anyone needs to contact you.
Yeah.
So Sylvia, again, thank you so much for attending, for your flexibility, and for all the valuable information about both undergraduate and graduate studies in general, and specifically at Ferris State. It was a pleasure to have you.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for letting me talk, and I'm really glad that I got to share Ferris with you guys. If you have any questions, go ahead and email me. I actually really enjoy live chatting, so if you want to talk with me, that makes my day.
All right. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.
You too.
And thank you all who attended, and hopefully this information was useful. Muchísimas gracias por su asistencia, y cualquier cosa, pues me pueden contactar a Silvia en el correo que está en la pantalla, o también a nosotros a consejería@fulbright.edu.co. consejería@fulbright.edu.co. Feliz día.
Thank you.